Let's talk about ATF because that's always fun
Okay.
because that's going to tie into a G3 segment a little later in the
Yeah,
episode.
that's
So
true. That's
let's
true.
get that out of the way, and then we'll tie up with
Well,
ATF.
let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. So I'm sure you recall back in August of last year, the White House made a big announcement, a big hoopla, a to-do, if you will, all around this new rule about who's a dealer and who's not a dealer. You remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, it turns out they've been busy little bees behind the curtain of the ATF. And there's a 1,300-page document that's circulating. It's a draft for the rule that they're going to be dropping eventually. And it was just leaked. And Tim, would you be surprised if the leak suggests that they're trying to say every single gun sale requires a background check? Would you be surprised?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Hmm.
To do something like that would take an act of Congress, not the pen stroke of ATF. But ATF is on a roll. They just like making up laws as they
It's
go along.
true.
As of late, they keep getting smacked down in the courts with it. But that's not deterring them whatsoever from the mission of continuing to legislate from a
Yeah.
bureaucracy.
That's true. That's true. In fact, as always, you were so prescient. We're going to go into all those things right now. Man, this is why I partnered with you. You are on it. So, if we go to number one, Doctor, I'm just going to show the article for reference. ATF whistleblowers sound alarm on Biden admin proposal that effectively bans private gun sales. I mean, I'm personally shocked. This came out yesterday. So, let me show you a few of the high level stuff, and then we're going to kind of break this down. So, this is number two. This is what they're alleging in this leak. Okay. Whistleblowers at the ATF, we know how that works out per the misclassification of ATF agents, right? Are sounding the alarm on a reported 1,300-page draft document that allegedly justifies a proposed rule that would effectively ban private gun sales, according to a watchdog group. Now, this watchdog group, Tim, is called Empower Oversight. And this is what they say in a letter that they sent to the ATF. Quote, the fact that inside ATF sources are blowing the whistle on this draft rule is an indication of what a difficult position it would be, or excuse me, it would put the ATF in. ATF agents did not sign up to go after law-abiding citizens for private sales protected under the Second Amendment. Now, you know the thing that's really fascinating about this? That would 100% create a registry.
Mhm.
100%, like without any doubt.
Well, yeah, I mean, they already track every single sale there is through a gun store.
But Tim,
So
it is not searchable.
it's in
They
a
pay extra
non-searchable. I mean,
money.
I know Diddlebum
Yeah,
pays extra to make sure that
he said that. Yeah,
that they can't search in Adobe. They have a special version, but
that's right.
perhaps if you have a non-special version, you accidentally find it on your laptop by no nefarious actions of your own, you might be
Oh,
able to search it.
yeah.
But anyway, we won't get into all that. But yeah, if you go down, then you force everybody. Anytime they want to sell a piece of privately owned property, they have to seek the government's approval, and in doing
Hmm.
that, they have to go through a background check system, which registers them, which ATF can then not search, but have a not searchable database, sort of, kinda.
Kind of medium,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Yeah,
jumbo shrimp. It's an oxymoron. We have a
it
non-searchable
is.
database. Uh,
That's right. That's interesting. Are you alluding by chance? Are you alluding by chance, Tim, to the amazing speed at which all of the ATF employees, when they're looking for gun records after an incident happens, and they search through 900 million records with no search function, and they get the results within like 4 hours? Are
yeah,
you
that's
questioning their ability
it's an all
to
hands
just
on deck. All 30 of them get in
yeah.
a room together. Yeah, and they start
Yeah.
looking for that one
90,
record.
900 million. They nail
Yeah.
it. They nail it every time. And they know where it was purchased. They know the serial number. Tim, listen, do not call into question the skills of our federal government agents because they are so good. They don't use databases. They are the databases.
Yeah.
They're the precogs, actually.
Yeah, they hire idiot savants that can like memorize anything, and it's
Yep.
like,
A bunch of Rain Men are in there.
yeah,
That's what it is.
5,265, 5,265.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep, that's
Exactly.
them.
Exactly.
Yep.
It was an AK-47. That is 466,431 articles. That one is located on June 21st. I mean, like, good
Yeah.
Lord, guys, come on. Does anyone believe this crap? Come on. Like
Yeah.
900 million records and you guys can find it within 3 hours? Yeah, there's no search database there.
Yeah.
No.
They're paper records,
Mm-mm.
but they only scan them in a
Yes.
non-searchable format.
Exactly.
But it's
And there's no
it's really a
search.
bunch of paper. That's what Diddlebum
Yep.
says. Yeah. So
Yep, that's exactly right. They go, but maybe this Tim, this might be a little hyperbolic. It might be a bit much, but you know what? We're filming on Friday. I don't care. You know the scene in 300 where Leonidas goes to the what's her name, the Oracle,
Mhm.
and it's the girl, and she's like doing all this stuff with all this. Maybe they have a chamber like that in the ATF, and they say exactly where it is. Maybe that's what it is.
could be. Well,
Maybe there's
What was it, Operation Looking Glass or something the CIA did back in the 60s or 70s where they were trying to do remote viewing? Maybe they have remote viewers now at ATF.
Ooh.
They shut down Operation Looking
Oh.
Glass. Maybe they moved them over to ATF and now they can just remote view your gun room and stuff like that. Who knows? Anyway, Rumble Strip.
That's valid. Rumble Strip. That was innovatively creative. But we're back. But we are back. It's okay. So it's Friday, Tim. Don't you bust my Friday.
Yeah.
You got good weather coming tomorrow, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Friday shenanigans.
That's right. So how's this for a last name? And this part I know you are gonna love. You're like, I can already see your heart pumping and growing like so much. This is number 5. So the watchdog group in question here reported that the current draft document is reportedly being overseen by senior policy counsel Eric Epstein, rough last name right now,
Ooh.
who previously worked as the Phoenix Field Office's division counsel in the precursor operation to Fast and Furious.
Oh, no, not Fast and Furious. Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
How do these people
Happy
still
feeling
have
gone?
jobs? There is no accountability in these bureaucracies, folks.
Nope.
They literally run
Nope,
illegal
not at all.
operations and they stick around even after it comes to light.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's interesting, you know, to our credit, Tim, I'm gonna, toot our own horn a little bit. All of our stories have been quite A plus B equals C this week. They've really flowed nicely, right?
Yeah.
So we did an episode yesterday about the ATF and how Grassley and Ernst were saying they need accountability for misclassifying jobs in order to get more money for those people, basically fleecing the government. And it was all about accountability. And now here we are looking at the guy who was literally involved in the operation that led into Fast and Furious. And now he's talking about putting a draft together and overseeing 1,300 pages about how every single gun sale is going to be a federal firearm background check.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it takes 1,300 pages to kind of try to convince somebody that might actually read those 1,300 pages. Nobody in Congress will. But the mental gymnastics that takes 1,300 pages to justify. I mean, seriously, you would think that if they're going to make the case for this, it's just simple. Hey, look, we really need background checks on everything, and here's what we propose. Like 2 pages, 1,300. They know it's a hard sell, and they're doing some research and trying to figure out a way to sell this to somebody. 1,300.
Yep. Now
pages.
it's important to note 1,300 pages. It's an important note to say. Now this is a draft. Now things can be taken out, which rarely happens in the government, or things can be added in, which often happens in the government.
Yeah.
But it is a draft, and we'll keep you apprised to when they come out with non-drafty drafts through these watch jobs. But Tim, again, a credit to your foresight, and you're amazing. This is number 6 because this, I think, is a very prescient point you brought up. Quote, such an expansive rule that treats all private citizens the same as federal firearms licensees would circumvent the separations of powers in Congress, in the Constitution, which grants all legislative powers to the Congress. It's seems to be a theme, doesn't it, Tim?
Yeah.
Through this administration, the executive branch has stepped all over Congress. They have stepped all over the judiciary. It's really just the executive branch running roughshod all over all the other branches, and they're supposed to be co-equal. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere.
And keep in mind, they're working on this 1,300-page draft to make a massive change to American gun laws, while the Supreme Court is hearing the case on Chevron deference that would take this power away from them.
Exactly. Man, yes, Tim. Exactly right. If they gut Chevron deference, I genuinely don't think even the full gun world understands the impact that will create if they gut Chevron deference.
Yeah.
I mean,
they'll
like,
stop stuff like this in its tracks.
I mean, that is a sea change. Chevron deference goes away. These executive bureaucracies lose all their power, and Congress has to actually go back to making law that's what their job is. I mean, like, I don't. It's hard to explain how big of a deal that would be.
Yep.
I mean, that would just be insane. And the last thing for this segment, Tim, to make you give the warm and fuzzies, because this gave me warm and fuzzies. I felt good about it. I did. So this is number 7. When asked for comment on the watchdog group's letter, the ATF directed Fox News to the information on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Quote, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, enacted in June 25th, 2022, amended the definition of engaging in business of dealing in firearms to include all persons who devote time, attention, and labor to dealing in firearms as a regular course of trade or business, or to predominantly earn a profit through the repetitive purchase and sale of firearms, the ATF said in a comment. So when you ask the ATF, hey, are you making a rule that you're going to change everything and it's all about, everyone's a dealer now? And they go back to the law they passed that says they're going to do it. I'm like, guys, I'm not feeling good about it. I don't know. I don't know, guys.
And
it doesn't look good.
And beyond that, they take that long description of what would classify somebody as being engaged in the business of dealing in firearms, and they're going to distill it down to the word profit. So what they're going to say is, well, if you sell a gun and you profit from the sale, then you're engaged in the business of dealing in firearms for profit. Therefore, you cannot do that. So presumably, and maybe this is why they have 1,300 pages, because they're going to try to make it so that even if you don't make a profit, they're still going to nail you for it. But
right.
But think about that. So, okay, so let's say that it goes through with this provision that, well, if you make even $1 profit, then you're engaged in the business. Well, okay, what if I bought the gun 15, 20 years ago? Do we adjust for inflation? And then what if I don't have record of how much I paid for it 30 years ago? Do we just make an assumption? Is this like the IRS that, we can just make a safe assumption and just like do a Google search and then go for an average? But we're talking about $1 profit here, folks. Maybe even a penny. We don't know just yet.
That's true. That's I like the inflation angle on that. That's good. That's out of the box. It's like there's like a slide ruler and there's like all these things. Like,
well, let's see now. Did you profit from we calculate 1 cent profit here, and that's 10-year felony, son. Yeah, I mean it's like wow.
You're a dealer. That'll be $250,000, please. Thank you. These people are crazy.
Maybe if you give guns away to like relatives, they're going to charge you with being a nonprofit without being a nonprofit. It's like,
oh, that's a good point.
I shouldn't give them ideas.
No, you shouldn't. Stop it. Like you remember when you went on a roll of like policy decisions where you were just doing such amazing work in France? I remember that. It was a good time. Yeah. It was a good time.